Hi, I'm Dr. Chris Bergwald, Director of Adult Discipleship and Evangelization with the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
Hello, I'm Father John Rutten, priest of the Diocese of Sioux Falls.
And this is the third video that we're doing in this series on Robert Coleman's book, The Master Plan of Evangelism. And this is on chapter 2. Father, the title of chapter 2 is Association. And there's this, the sort of subtitle for the chapter is the quote from the end of Matthew's Gospel, Jesus speaking to the 12, to the apostles, the 11, I guess. Lo, I am with you always. So again, the title is Association. And for me, the biggest, well, one of the biggest takeaways from this chapter is the idea that as I am leading other people, usually, again, the context here is small group, but it could work for other instances as well. I've been appointed by the bishop, as a priest perhaps, or by the pastor, as a layman or woman, to lead others into greater relationship with God in and through the church. Lead them, form them, equip them as greater disciples, and then as lay apostles within the life of the church, the parish, the community, whatever it is. So if I've been appointed to do that by my pastor or by the bishop in the case of a priest, it's not just about me as the classroom teacher. It's about me, association. Jesus, again, and we mentioned this in the last video, Jesus lived with these men, 12 for sure, maybe a larger group as well, but he was with them for a year and a half to 3 years, all told. So he's with them and he's sharing life with them. It's not just as the teacher, but it's as the mentor, the model as well. One of the classical examples, I think, for a discipleship approach or small group mentoring, modeling of discipleship is the Paul-Timothy relationship, where Paul truly mentored. He didn't just, he wrote inspired letters to Timothy, inspired by God, but he was a mentor, a father figure, in a sense, to Timothy. And I think that's something that we have to follow as well. And there's dangers there. You know, you have to be careful about boundaries and so on, appropriate boundaries. But nonetheless, we are called, if we are appointed to lead others in discipleship, we are called to be with them and share our life with them, and not just as sort of the standoff professor.
Yeah, that's difficult in our culture today because everything's segmented. I have my religious things that I do, I have my athletic things that I do, I have my career things that I do, I have my vacation things, and so we come into that already with this mentality that challenges us. And I think the only way forward is all in. My life has to be given over. And that's when we really, truly open people and we change people and we provide them a witness to something far greater than the way they're living. I'm recalling someone recently that was following me in RCIA, and he and his wife were some young adults in the parish, and they were considering whether she was going to enter the church, and I saw something. I thought, this guy's got something really unique, and proposed to him a discipling through Why Disciple.
So leading a small group.
Leading a small group.
Yep.
You know, leading a small group of high school men, and he's in his mid to late 20s, and he's, you know, they're having a baby. And my twin brother Joe told me, he said, John, never underestimate what the first child does to a married couple.
Right. Amen.
And that's just ringing in my ears as I'm like, but I really want this guy to disciple. He's going to be great. And I'm going back and forth and back and forth. I'm like, oh, maybe I should take the offer off the table. You know, maybe I should not. But the fact of the matter is, this is who we need. We don't need somebody that's got it all figured out and now my life can be given over. We need somebody who is living Christian life and can give it over. So if you're at a stage in which you're having a new baby, great. They're going to get to share in the life of a young man having a new baby. So then I talked to him about it recently again, and he said, well, Father, you know, it's really not about the new baby. Wednesday night is basketball league. Now we're at the root of most of our problems, is Christ calls us to follow him over and over, and he talks about it in here. The way of the Christian is to follow, and it means sometimes we have to give up things that we otherwise would like. It doesn't mean playing basketball is bad. It means he's calling me to something else. Am I willing to follow? And maybe it's going to be basketball with these young men as opposed to my league. So it's a challenge and it's difficult, but I think it's the way. Our whole life has to be given over, and we have to see that we live our faith in all circumstances.
Yeah, and I think I can definitely identify with this young man, because we were having twins at one point when I was leading a small group in my parish of high school age. And, to manage that, and I don't know how well I did, but you're right, they still see that. There's still that witness of this is a man who's seeking to grow in relationship with Jesus Christ, and he has a real life. He's not celibate with all the time in the world, as I think sometimes people think about priests. Even in the midst of the messiness and the busyness of ordinary human life, family, married life, family life, this is still possible.
Yeah. My sister I would bring seminarians over to her house every other weekend in St. Paul, and every time I got over there, it occurred to me that the place was clean, it was dimly lit, and there was a candle on the table with a fragrant incense. And I finally said to her, I said, this isn't helpful. This forms us to follow the perfect. No, they need to see the pile of laundry piling out of the door. They need to see that there's homework that has to be done right after dinner's over. They need to see that sometimes, the carpet didn't get done. That's real Christian living. And then in the midst of that, how does my faith answer that? This is really association of lives, not let me present to you the perfect. Absolutely.
So the one leading others in discipleship is really, again, you said Christian living, with the term I used earlier, phrase, sharing life with each other.
Yes.